So I have to start off tonight's recap by mentioning the press conference that Bob Miller held earlier today announcing officially his retirement from 57 years in radio and film broadcasting. 44 of them have been with the LA Kings, so in their 50-year history, 44 of them have been called by Bob Miller. 27 of those years have been called by Bob Miller and Jim Fox as a team, which is the longest commentary duo in the history of at least the NHL, if not all sports. It's an amazing career to have had. I'm so privileged to have been able to meet with him and interview him a couple of times. He is an incredible gentleman. Not gonna lie, around the point, I was pretty much crying throughout the whole thing, the whole hour of his press conference and his stories from his time broadcasting. But when he started talking about Jim Fox and Jim Fox started crying, I was bawling. I don't remember a time where he and Jim together were not calling LA Kings games. He's a legend. So Bob. Bob, thank you so much for all of the work that you have done, not just for the LA Kings, but for the hockey community as a whole. He said that he wanted his legacy to be that fans felt he was approachable. He didn't want to be a guy where fans walked away and said, oh my gosh, I just wanted to say hi and shake his hand. What a jerk. And I can honestly say for my own personal experience and from everyone I know that has met him, that will be his legacy. He always had a kind word and a story to share. He always asked everyone how they were doing and what they did in their lives. And he just is such an inspiration, and there's absolutely no way that the Kings are going to be able to replace him. Bob Miller, you are LA Kings broadcasting. So again, thank you for all your years of service, and you will be greatly missed. He has 2 more games that he's going to call. They will be his 3,352nd, his 3,353rd game that he has called for the LA Kings. That is incredible, an incredible body of work. He called 2 Stanley Cup champions. At one point, Luke leaned over to him at the press conference and said, I was really glad that we could get you those Stanley Cups. And he looks over and he's like, me too. He had his 2012 Stanley Cup championship ring on throughout the press conference. You are a champ, Bob Miller. So those last 2 games, you will hear him call. Make sure you tune in Chicago Blackhawks, second last game of the regular season, and the Anaheim Ducks, last game of the regular season. And it's looking like standings-wise, it's going to come down to the wire. So those are going to be interesting games no matter what. For the first 2 periods of this Maple Leafs game, I was sure it wasn't even going to matter, that this was going to be the last game they played until October of next year. We were not looking good, guys. The Maple Leafs are a young team. They're a fast team. Quick was looking sharp. Drew Doughty was doing his one-man hockey team bit because nobody else on the team was playing hockey. So frustrating. And I had already been crying for about an hour of the day, so I was cried out over Bob Miller. Can't cry anymore, you Kings. You're just killing my will to live here. First 2 minutes, literally 2 minutes and 6 seconds, was all down the LA Kings zone, which is not what you want, and they were just buzzing around quick, and he's great. He was doing everything he could, but 2:06, that first Maple Leafs goal goes in, and we just all go, ugh. Remind me again why we got Jarome Iginla. We got him for free, essentially. From what I understand, trade deadline passed yesterday. From what I understand, the conditions in order to get, to give back that 4th round pick are basically not going to happen. It's kind of like when the Avs got that player for a bucket of pucks, and he finally got his Stanley Cup. I essentially think that's what the Iginla trade was hoping to be. He said this morning that he's really thrilled to be back into a team that has that mentality of playoff pitcher. I don't know. We'll see. I essentially, because he's free, I don't really mind the trade. I just kind of thought we were going to get, Duchesne or Landeskog or someone who's not 40 and still has years left to play. But much like when we got Vinny Lecavalier and tried to kind of rejuvenate him for the last 6 months and get him a Stanley Cup, I think that's what we're trying to do for Iginla. I would be the first to be thrilled if I am proven wrong about Iginla's abilities. I think they've been on the decline and are not likely to come back, but if he has that rejuvenating spark and he is the thing that gets the Kings their Stanley Cup and he finally gets his, then awesome! Prove me wrong, Jerome, please. I will say this for him, greatest name ever. Never gonna remember all, 8 of his names, but it's like Tig, Elvis, something in the middle there. It's phenomenal. So if he ends up being as cool as his name is, the Kings will be fine. So anyway, he's on the top line. Daryl Sutter's thrilled to have him. Actually, the funniest tweet I heard about this was someone pretending to be Lombardi, and it was like, all right, fine, Daryl, I'll get you Iginla, but I'm going to have to give up Dwight King because I do not trust that you will not put them both on the top line with Kopi. So for a while, Dwight King, thank you for our 2 Stanley Cups, but we are unfortunately moving on. He's an RFA at the end of this season anyway. The Kings weren't going to re-sign him, so they got a draft pick, which is something that Lombardi had said at the end of last season, that was what he learned, and that was something he didn't ever want to do again, was give up the future of the franchise in order for something they thought was going to be, the cup that year, and it didn't work out. So we have Iginla, we have Bishop. Can't remember if the last vlog I did we had Ben Bishop, but I kind of love the idea that we now have 2 Vezina Trophy candidates in our lineup. I think that's awesome. I think that's really smart, considering that while Quick is back and it is amazing and beautiful, and I'm pretty sure that was my last vlog, was Quick's first game returning to Staples Center, back in the lineup. I love seeing it, but it's March, guys. It's March. We have a month and a half to playoffs, and Quick needs more time than that, I think, to get playoff ready. So to have Quick and Bishop, he's an RFA at the end of the season too, so if we don't re-sign him, then we haven't really lost anything in that trade again. So for now, we have 2 amazing goalies in net, and we had Quick tonight absolutely standing on his head, looking exactly like the Quick that we know and love. He kept us in it so many times. I couldn't even count how many times it's like, oh my God, Joe Perley, you're running again, Jonathan. He was phenomenal. The rest of the team, not so much. Someone also said, I'm pretty sure it was the Mouth, at the Mouth, on Twitter. I know that sounds really weird when you don't realize it's a Twitter handle. Anyway, he said something about, I think the reason we got a Jerome Iginla was so that he could beat Jake Muzzin or Braden McNabb into the boards when they do something stupid, and if that is what had happened, then we would have had more than 38 hits that we had, and that's plenty in a game. The problem was, one of the problems was that the Kings just were not winning face-offs. About halfway through the first period, the Kings had won 12.5%. 12.5% of face-offs were won by the Kings, 26% overall in the first period. You are not going to be able to do anything but chase the puck if you are consistently losing it on the face-off and having to follow them around the ice. And that is exactly what they did for about 2 periods. There was a period of time between about 13:26 and the end of, or 13:26 into the first period, up until 8 minutes. A full 8.5 minutes into the second period where the Kings did not have a single shot on goal. So that is almost over 15 minutes of play where the Kings, that's 3/4 of a period where the Kings did not shoot at the nets. That is ridiculous. That is insane. And that is why 7 minutes and 20 seconds into the second period, despite the fact that the Kings had 2 power plays in that time, don't even get me started on the Kings power play. You've heard my rants on this. They were down 2-0. 7:20 in, just blows straight past quick. The first goal we gave up, that one 2 minutes into the game, was someone shooting over to the left and Jonathan Quick not able to get over to stop the rebound on the right-hand side. Play you've seen a gazillion times. Where the heck is defense on the other side to help him out? I don't know. So that happened for the first 2 periods, and I'm just sitting there essentially giving up on our playoff hopes. I mean, right there. We have a huge amount of talent on this team, and there were 2 players showing up, Jonathan Quick and Drew Doughty. And you cannot have an entire team where only 2 people are playing, even if they are phenomenal players. So in my head, what happens in between the second period and the third during intermission is Daryl Sutter just glaring at the team, like individually, like, all right, Kopitar, I'm glaring at you for 30 seconds and saying nothing. All right, Gabrick, now it's your turn. I'm glaring at you for 30 seconds. All right, McNabb over there, I'm glaring for you for like a minute and a half. Muzzin, yeah, you get the minute and a half. Okay, Daddy, I don't really have to glare at you. All right, and moving on. And it was silent in the locker room while all he did was glare. And then they got up and went and played the third period because it was not the same team that came out for the third. This is the team that Jerome McGinley wanted to get traded to, where they actually play like they want to win a Stanley Cup. It was awesome. So we had a split power play. We had a minute and a half-ish left of a power play. Didn't matter, didn't need it. 27 seconds into the game, Anze Kopitar blasts one past Anderson. There are so many things in that sentence that are phenomenal. Anze Kopitar scored a goal. Guys, I have to bring this up because it's so ridiculous. Flip Forsberg plays for Smashville, the Nashville Predators. Last week alone, he scored 2 consecutive hat tricks and 2 extra goals. So in 1 week, and sadly enough, this is still true, he has scored more goals than Anze Kopitar has scored all year. He had 6 up until today's game. Now he has 7. And it's hilarious because the person on the ice that looked the most surprised that Kopitar had scored was Jeff Carter. He had one of those, do you remember that Matt Green look where he scored 1 goal, like I think it was last season, maybe the season before, and he just had that, like, did I do that kind of look on his face? That was the look on Jeff Carter's face. It was hilarious. So not only did Anze Kopitar score, thank the sweet baby Jesus, we scored on the power play. We have done that 3 times in the last 47 power plays. So as awesome as our penalty kill is, which is, I think, the exact same statistic, or like before it was 2, like going into the game, we had 2 and 2 in about that many games. I don't even know. Like, I don't understand this team. Clearly we are defensive first. So that was awesome. And then we actually, I think, won another face-off and did some good stuff on that. And then won another face-off and scored a goal. Another one. This is like a minute and a half into the third period. I'm not kidding. They actually, like, they woke up. So this second goal was Tanner Pearson, Alec Martinez, and Tyler Toffoli. So Tyler is the one that's kind of buzzing around the net, trying to get the puck anywhere near it, and Tanner and Alec are just standing there at the net front presence like I have been preaching for months. It works. They are just hacking away, and Tanner is the one that gets it in, and suddenly we are tied. And we still have a good 18 and a half minutes to play. And they finally are injuvenated. They're finally winning face-offs and actually getting puck possession and doing something with the puck when they do it. Problem is, the Maple Leafs actually kind of woke up after we tied it and were like, oh, shoot, I guess we should also play hockey now. So there were a lot of good chances at either end of the ice. Jonathan Quick was doing his standing on his head impression that he does that just I love so much. Oh, we had this awesome lapel pin for him tonight, and it was well-deserved, I think, tonight that it was Quick, because by the time we got to overtime, and yes, of course, the Kings couldn't do it in regulation, Quick was phenomenal. Overtime is not easy. The Kings used to be amazing at it. We had lost like once in overtime and maybe once in a shootout in the entire time that we've been playing. And then the last 2 times we've gone, once against Calgary, which is not the team you want to be leaving or giving extra points to. Lost like 30 seconds into it, and then the time before that we went into overtime, we lost it in like 17 seconds, and so I'm a little less, convinced that the Kings have got this 3-on-3 thing down. But we went the full 5 minutes. I was having heart attacks no matter what end of the ice the puck was on, because for the first couple of minutes it was all Maple Leafs and Quickie was being amazing. At one point he did this awesome thing where the Leafs thought that he was going to cover the puck and he like flicked it out to, I don't remember who was on the ice. I think it was Cupcake and Doughty and Pearson, and so we essentially ended up with a 3-on-1 because the other 2 Maple Leafs thinks that play has stopped and are stuck way behind the play. So couldn't do anything with that. It was just kind of the story of the game. The Kings were buzzing and so close, but yeah, couldn't put it in. So after 5 shots from the Maple Leafs, all very scary shots, and 4 shots from us, all equally as scary and chances that could have been just as good, we go to a shootout. I hate shootouts. I do not think it is fair that a game that has been this hard fought and closely played and so well. Okay, the Kings didn't play very well for the first 2 periods, but the third period at least, in overtime for sure, I think everybody deserved more points than they got, but whatever. So Jeff Carter's up first, swing and a miss, and then the Austin Matthews genius of the Maple Leafs. I actually really like watching him. He's a great player, but Quickie was better. Yeah. So nothing. Round 2. And some other Leafs guy. Hey, no score. Thank you, Jonathan. Anze Kopitar comes up, and I think I've pressed record on my little thing, and I record his game-winning goal, but it wasn't, so you're not going to get to see that, but it was awesome. I actually don't remember the last time we've gone to a shootout, and the last time we've gone to a shootout and Anze Kopitar has scored. It's been a very long time, but it was beautiful, kind of top shelf, just flings it right by Anderson, and then Jonathan Quick makes the save on the third Maple Leafs, and the Kings have 2 points and are back in the playoffs, guys. It's awesome. Don't get too excited because the Blues are 1 point behind us, and they have 2 games in hand on us. So it's not like we're really in the playoffs. We're just kind of pretending to be there for right now. But the future is in our own hands. We play the Flames. Trying to remember who we were up against. Ironically enough, Jerome McGinley's old team that he played for like ever. We play them 3 more times this season, and if we don't take them to overtime and win in regulation, then we're looking pretty good. The other thing that could happen that would keep the Kings in the playoff picture would be if the Blues just decided to completely suck. So that'd be really helpful. So if you could get on that, that'd be great. Until then, though, if we play like we did in the third period, and Quick plays like Quick does, I am yet to see Bishop play for us live, but I have a feeling that's going to happen on Saturday. lots of home games here in March. But yeah, if we have these two in net, Drew Doughty just playing, Drew Doughty ways, and the Kings of the third period show up, not the Kings of the first and second period, we have a pretty good shot of making it. So keep on watch. I will be here with you. Once again, Bob Miller, you are a legend. Thank you for everything. And the other LA Kings legend, I hope, never leaves us, even if his father does. Chris Sutter, as always, bringing it on the dance cam.